For a lot of us, it's hard to listen to even a couple seconds of Dango Daikazoku without tearing up. But why is that exactly? What is it about this song that makes it so emotionally evocative? Spoilers ahead, you've been warned. There are many anime that are known to have incredibly sad moments, but more often than not, the music is forgotten, though the scene itself may stay strong in the viewer's memory. However, in the case of Clannad, the heartfelt moments are near inseparable from the music accompanying them. A big reason behind this is repetition and association. For instance, Dango Daikazoku is used as the ED for the entirety of the first season, so simply by being repeated so often, the viewer begins to associate that song with the show itself, which is not uncommon for OPs and EDs in general, particularly with ones that are unique. However, it is especially used in connection with Nagisa. There's a direct association due to her attachment with Dango's within the show itself, but the song also appears instrumentally in Nagisa's theme and later in the piece The Palm of a Tiny Hand as well. What I find to be one of the most powerfully effective tools used in media when trying to make you sad is rather than dwell exclusively on the tragedy itself, instead remind the viewer of the happy moments. This makes the sad moment feel less heavy-handed, but also makes it far more impactful. It reminds us of what is being lost and why exactly we should feel for these characters. So when Dango Daikazoku plays, we're reminded of all those moments of Nagisa and Tomoya bonding. We're reminded of how she fought to overcome her weaknesses, and how she inspired Tomoya, and we're reminded of the untimely death that put an end to her beautiful existence. And so, it slowly comes to represent a combination of both the sad and happy moments throughout the show, a 90-second life story. This juxtaposition is present not only in how the song is used, but also within the song itself as well. The piece starts with very minimal instrumentation. Voice and xylophone begin it, followed by a sparse piano, which finally transitions into a more grand section about halfway through, with percussion, chorus, and a more fleshed out piano part. Though the song is certainly light in subject matter, and is structured like a children's song, right down to the inclusion of the xylophone, the sparing instrumentation, and the chorus, it still has a somewhat melancholy undertone. The piece is slow. Even though the xylophone voice duo is not moving at an especially slow pace, the rhythmic structure and placement of the strong beats is very rigid and contributes to the sense of it being so. If you try bobbing your head or swaying to the beat, you'll likely end up moving at a pretty slow pace, unlike many songs with a more upbeat feeling. Each beat is very pronounced, and the piano sparing part highlights the slower pace and holds the tempo in place. The way the song is sung is also an interesting factor. In order to be engaging, oftentimes children's songs will have the word or phrase go up towards the end, as if you were asking a question, similar to the way most people will talk to babies. However, in this piece, often the voice line stays mostly the same or descends in pitch, both patterns that are generally associated with melancholic or somber things. The phrasing is also much bigger than is usually the case in a song of this style. A phrase in music is, put simply, like a paragraph within an essay. It is a segment of the piece that also has its own beginning and conclusion. Dango Daikazoku's phrases are quite long, adding to the sense of slowness and implying there is more depth to the piece than it might seem at first. The performance really sells this character. There is no exaggeratedly happy tone to the voice. It's played quite straight, which makes it feel very personal, like a mother singing a lullaby to her child. And even when the chorus makes its entrance, it simply amplifies these emotions to a grand scale. The sparing piano is somewhat lonely sounding as each individual note echoes, and tonally the piece has this feeling of constantly descending even as it repeatedly climbs back up. The simple word dango that makes up the core of this song is almost always phrased going down, with dan being higher and go being lower. I think the choice to utilize this childlike style of song in itself could be interpreted as more than you might think. Childhood is beautiful, but also somewhat tragic. It's a magical time period of bonding, discovery, and love, yet, as with all things, it must come to an end. Thanks for watching. Be sure to let me know some of your favorite music used in anime, and if you enjoyed this video, consider sharing it with a friend. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already to be updated on my future videos. I recommend checking out my previous video where I analyze some of the music from March Comes In Like a Lion, or my podcast series where I discuss some of my favorite female characters in anime. You can also follow me on Twitter at @KorReviews for more of my inane thoughts and links to my many creative endeavors. I'll catch you all in the next one.